Yes, finally I'm live. Absolutely cool, cool, cool. Hello, everybody. True Power is mine. I am going to hopefully
Powering on. Ready to pair.
I got a special guest for you guys. I have Jane Elliott. I'm going to give her a call. And I'll be right back. I got to grab something super duper fast. I thought I had everything ready. Obviously I did not. So all right. Let me grab up my last piece of the puzzle, and then we'll get this party started. All right, I'm back, guys. I had to, you know what? These mosquitoes are just getting on my last nerve. They're just getting on my last damn nerve. I'm ready to hook up the bug zapper in here and just take care of them. Eradicate these bitches. All right, guys. Yes, I'm wearing the. Hold on, let me see if I can't. I'll make sure my t-shirt's popping. What's up, Marty? All is well, brother. I got a great I got a great program, actually. Hold on one second. I'm going to go ahead and let's give her. I want to give her like 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to call cousin, because she's all of our cousins. Jane Elliott, the educator. She did the famous blue eye, brown eye experiment. Had her on the show before. I was reading some comments on the show I did last night, and someone had mentioned cows and in reference to her. Now, granted, most of the time, like when we're dealing with people like Tim Wise and on that level, I totally agree. But Sister Jane is a little different animal. You know, I think she's a terrific, wonderful woman. And, once again, for those who don't know, I'm trying to put together a show where I have Dr. Nichols and Jane Elliott on at the same time, so we can have some real interaction and dialogue. All right. So just 1 more minute, and then I'll give her a call. And I had just talked to her a few minutes ago. She had to make another phone call. And geez, man, it's just so awesome to be able to, reach out to these folks, people that you see on Oprah Winfrey, people that you hear on Carl Nelson's show, people that you see making fucking movies, and you're just like, hey, what's up? Chop it up. But the important thing about this, I do this because I want to bring information to all you guys. I don't do this be like, oh, look at me, look how cool I am, blah, blah, blah. No, it's because I truly have a desire to share truth and real information with you guys. I want the real. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hold on. I want to make sure that this is actually connected. I don't want my Bluetooth speaker to be. Hold on. I got to make sure my Bluetooth speakers is connected real quick. So hold on 1 second. We're just going to do like a real quick sound test, whatever. I'm just going to grab the first video here. Come on. Are you not working? Okay.
I'm telling you, dude, nobody messes with older guys. Who's the mayor of...
Okay. Yeah, I see everybody's probably over there on Dimebag's channel listening to that. Hold on.
Ready to pair. Paired.
Okay, and then these, just for kicks. Okay, now we go back. Sorry, guys. Actually, hold on one second. Promise I'll be making that phone call here shortly. Really, really shortly. So, okay, my chat. Oh shit.
911. What is your emergency? Oh my god.
All right. Hopefully that sound quality. Can someone help me out in the room? Did you guys hear the sound quality on that? Was it decent? Was it shit? I don't know. Because I'm not in the chat room. Not like that. All right. Now let me go here. Jump up here. Go over here. All right. All right. Oh. All right. Oh. Okay, you can hear that. All right. Now, let's give Jane a call. Let's do it. Hopefully she's all good, so. Uh-oh. Something's weird. It's dialing, but no, I don't need a Bluetooth. Oh, shit. I bet you it's going to here. Hold on one second. Hello? This is odd. Bluetooth. Hello? Something's not right. Hold on one second. What's going on? We're getting ready to call up Jane Elliott. Something's not right. Something's not right. Once again, this phone situation of mine. Hold on. No.
The Photoshop without the horns.
Okay.
Like you never seen him. Okay, well, does the Bible say what he looks like?
All right. Now let me try calling her back. Okay. Hopefully, my phone system was kind of. Actually, really should be no issue, but for whatever reason, there seemed to be. Ah, there we go. Hello, Jane. It's Patrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're actually live. I got a few people in the chat room already. I told them I was calling you up. I just want to introduce the guest today. It's Jane Elliott. She's an educator, a wonderful human being, my 32nd cousin, and just a terrific person. But I want to carry on the conversation that we had on the phone before you had to make that phone call. And I want to set it up for the audience. I was talking to an evangelical friend of mine on the phone the other day, and we were talking about Bible passages and what I've been working on as far as the end time prophecies, that series of videos I'm producing. And when we got to a certain pause point, I interjected something that Jane has shared with me. It really blew me away the first time she said. She said, let's take a look at Adam and Eve. Adam came from the ground. He's black. Eve came from his bone, which is white, the cartilage, the calcium in the bone. So the first man and woman, according to the Bible, was a black man with a white woman. My evangelical friend, you could hear his jaw drop. He was, you know, we talked for maybe 4 to 5 minutes after that. And then he said, well, I had to go and research this. Haven't heard back from him yet. And I'm sure he will. He'll give me a call back. But it's when you talk these truths to people, you know, when we peel back the onions of deception that we all have been not only exposed to, but we have been indoctrinated to believe, you know, the whole.
But you have to remember that in the United States of America, which we have to stop calling America, because America is everything from the northernmost point of Canada to the southernmost point of South America.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
all American. So we have to start calling it the United States of America. In the United States of America, the education system is not an education system, it's an indoctrination system.
Yes, it is.
And it takes 13 years to fully indoctrinate a child so that he believes or she believes in the myth of race and the myth of white superiority.
You know, could you share with us, you know, how long has this concept of race, for all the people who haven't heard the show before, how long, Jane, has this concept of race really been around?
About 500 years.
500 years.
It started with the Spanish Inquisition. They realized after they'd killed several thousand people that they had killed some people who believed in their faith before they started killing. They couldn't identify what your religion was by looking at you, so they decided they'd have to find another way to identify the people they were going to either kill or enslave. And they set upon skin color. It is that ridiculously simple. I talked to a group of black women last week, and I said to this group, one was a mother, one was a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter. And I said, how long do you think this has been going on? They said, well, forever. No, it hasn't been going on forever. You need to realize that we have been miseducated. When we talk about black history in this country, we teach black history from slavery.
Yes.
And that's what all the black history is. If you read Anthony Browder's book, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, you will never believe in that again. You will realize that black history was about 4,000 years before the birth of Jesus Christ. And we don't discuss that black history. We only discuss black history as it relates to white folks and slavery. And slavery has been around a very, very long time, but not based on skin color.
Right. It was typically based on, if I'm correct, nations. You know, once that nation lost.
Native Americans have been slaves of the other tribes' people regularly. And then they became members of that tribe, and then they were all right. So this isn't, and it isn't just in this country, it's been worldwide, but not based on skin color. Yeah, that's a fairly new, as I understand it. Now, if you would call Anthony Browder, he would tell you exactly when this whole thing started, and if you would read the book The Myth of Race by Robert Wald Sussman, you wouldn't have any more question about this, because you realize that this was a lie foisted upon us for the past 500 years, and it's time for us to stop believing it. You know, the Greeks had a myth that says that the sun was a god that rode across the sky in a golden chariot every morning.
Apollo.
Yeah, well, it took thousands of years to discredit that one. We got 500 years. We could discredit this one.
Yes. And, you know, we could change this thing, like you said in our last conversation, in 2 generations with proper education. We could totally eradicate this.
But you see, I'm an educator, and the word educator comes from the root ductus, which means lead, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ote, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means one who does. An educator is somebody who is engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance.
Yes.
That's not what teachers do. Teachers provide facts and figures so that students can pass the end of your test. That's not what education is. Education is leading people out of ignorance. And when you walk into a classroom and you have a teacher who's going to say Columbus discovered America, that teacher is not leading students out of ignorance. You can't, according to Iredell, I don't know who he is, he said you cannot discover a place where people are already living. They discovered it before you got there. And black people came to this country, and those people who call themselves Native Americans or First Nations people were black in the beginning.
Right.
They left Africa black. And as they move farther and farther away from the equator, their bodies produce less and less melanin, so their skin, their hair, and their eyes got lighter and lighter. It has nothing to do with being God's chosen children.
Oh, ouch. Oh, you pissed off.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Because that was a nice myth that we white folks had all those years. We turned Jesus into somebody who looks like a little third-grade doughboy, and we made God into somebody who looks like Charlton Heston saying Moses.
That's so, and we got to understand the reason why. The reason why, because if you're a Black Christian and you identify Christ as white, God is white, therefore you would accept so much crap in society and day-to-day life because God controls the universe and he truly wanted to change this. It almost I'm saying it almost leads people to believe that they're cursed, that they deserve to be in this situation.
But you need to remember that one of the major differences between white people and people of other color groups, even though we are the Black color group, we don't admit it. The major difference between us and them is when people of other color groups come into a new environment, they immediately adjust their needs to fit the environment. And this is, psychologists will tell you this. When white people come into a new environment, they immediately adjust the environment to fit their needs.
Right.
We have even done that with religion. We white folks have made God into an old white man with a long gray beard, which is because we can pray to a man that looks like us.
Yes.
Jesus looked like the little Pillsbury Doughboy because that makes him more acceptable for us. You go to some Black churches and you're going to see a different Jesus. You will. You will actually see the Jesus depicted. Black people do that too, but Blacks are closer to the truth because Jesus was born in the Middle East, and the people that we are dropping bombs on,
yes,
we are being allowed to die in this Palestine and Israel kind of thing. Those kids look like Jesus. Yeah. And I had a guest on the other day, Mark from Anaheim, and he stunned me with a question. I had been drinking, so I was on this America's So Great kick, and he said, you name me one country that's not predominantly white and Christian that America has attacked. And I can't. I can't tell you one country that, was predominantly white and Christian that America has attacked. It seems like we have a propensity to attack brown people. We didn't respond by attacking Germany.
Well, we didn't.
We didn't attack Italy.
Well,
we didn't attack in France. And France didn't attack us, but we turned on them.
The Vichy. Well, the point.
Are you telling me we haven't? Well, right now, what we're doing is by dropping out of all those international organizations. Aren't we attacking them?
You mean like
NATO? The North Atlantic Treaty Organization?
Yes.
And we're calling places like that those shithole countries?
Well, but Trump was targeting that towards.
This man has a very short memory.
Well, it was more or less alluding to, like, for instance, with the World War II thing, we didn't declare war on Germany because Germany was allied with Japan. As soon as Japan attacked us, we really declared war on Japan, which opened up the theater to Germany, Italy, the Vichy French government.
And I'm not going to get into a long historical discussion about the Second World War because we have spent ever since we became the United States of America. We have made sure that other people respected us because we were this good Christian nation.
Right.
And we believe in the golden rule, which says, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. The golden rule came out of Chinese philosophy, and it said, do unto others as others would have you do unto them.
Yes.
And in order to find out how people want to be treated, treat others the way they want to be treated. Not the way you want to be treated, but the way they want to be treated. And in order to find out how they want to be treated, you have to ask them, you have to listen to the answer, and then if what they ask you to do isn't indecent, illegal, or immoral, you have to do it.
Right.
But you see, if you golden rule. I believe in the platinum rule. Do unto others as others would have you do unto them. But that takes away your power, you see.
Yes.
Yes, and you have to communicate with them if you do that.
Right.
Every time this country sends out some of those ridiculous commercials that go on television all over the world, we are, in effect, attacking other nations. We're attacking them electronically. We're attacking them with social media, and we do it all the time.
But, I mean, you know, isn't America still viewed in...
States from
Oh, yeah.
Talking about your tank, talking about the United States, you're talking about all of the Americas.
I'm working with that, Jane. I'm totally... Yes, the United States of America. You know, when I was coming up...
Just say USA. That's easy.
Yes. Yes.
America. It's only USA. It's only 3 syllables. We can get used to saying it.
USA. You know, when I was growing up, it's like the school taught us.
If we'd been saying it properly, Mr. Trump would not have said, I talked to the president of Puerto Rico. Remember when he said that about 2 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
A year ago? I talked to the president of Puerto Rico. He didn't realize that Puerto Rico was part of the USA.
It's a territory of the United States. Yes, just like the Virgin Islands or Guam. but
anyway, what's your question?
My question was, when I was growing up in school, you know, I mean, I very rural school once again, but you know, we were taught that America is the greatest, America is the freest, America is this and that, and it's like, you know, is there any country, you know, that you're aware of that still views us in that capacity? Or are we just the big racist asshole on the block?
Well, what are you asking me, whether the United States is unique in its racist behaviors?
Well, like I saw a video the other day. It was concerning Israel and the Ethiopian Jews. Okay. And the guy in the commentator was saying that Israel, he was saying, basically, I'm paraphrasing, Israel, you know, had a bad media outlook. You know, people are, you know, making us look racist like the United States of, you know, USA. And I was shocked. I'm like, do you think, you know, because, you know, I haven't really traveled too much outside the country, and I know that you have. Does other country look at us as a pack of racists, or people who are trying to do the right thing as far as global situations are concerned?
Are other countries trying to do the right thing?
No, I mean, do you think that other countries view us as like overtly racist and like somewhat evil? Or do you think they view us like I was talking about when I was a kid? You know, America's a good country. You know, we tried to do the right thing, even though we fell miserably at some aspects of that.
Well, I think it's interesting that you would taught that at the same time that women and people of color were fighting for any kind of rights in this country. And I think you were taught that, and now you're seeing an administration that has defiled and just had said terrible things about anybody from south of the border. We're going to build a wall to keep those brown-skinned people out of America. They're already in America. Get over that one. So, yes, we are indoctrinated with the idea that America has never done anything wrong.
Right.
We're wrong. We have done things that are wrong, and we continue to do things that are wrong. And our worldwide is dropping steadily every day right now because of what we allowed to happen when we allowed this racist, sexist, ageist, homophobic, ethnocentric person to get elected to the presidency of the United States. Now, I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican. I'm totally independent, but I'm not a fool. And when I hear the kinds of things that this man is saying, and when I see the number of people who are now calling me and asking me to come and talk to their college or university or corporation, I realize that he has increased the bigotry in this country in a year and a half.
Mm.
And it is insane for us to follow along this path. We have to realize what is happening here and put a stop to it now. I'm just finishing the book Fear by Bob Woodward. If you haven't read it, you better get it and read it. And then you'll realize what it is that is leading this country. And it is a dangerous person. Steve Bannon said to him, we have to deconstruct this government. And he said that on television. I watched him say that during an interview. We have to deconstruct this government. I don't want, and you don't want, to deconstruct this democracy. That is terrifying, the thought of deconstructing this government. You have to be aware of what's going on. And I don't think people are. I think I am just really concerned that the citizens of the USA are not paying close enough attention.
Of course not. I mean, you know, you talk to younger folks, because this is what this audience is. This is primarily young men. And, you know, a lot of them, you know, say, how long do we have to wait before police stop profiling us and beating us down? How long do we have to wait before, you know, we can't get the...
I'll tell you how long black people have to wait. They have to wait until they have started to go on the offense instead of the defense.
Radical,
now,
Jane.
For 400 years in this country, black people have been apologizing for being black.
Mm.
They've had to apologize for being black. Please forgive me for being black.
Mm.
They have had to put up with white women saying to them, when I see you, I don't see you black. Has anybody ever said that to you?
Mm. Oh, yes, and not so many words.
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
If I have had this one, if all black men act the way you do, we wouldn't have the problems we have with these people. Have you had that?
Oh, God. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for a black man, you talk real good. Have you had that one?
Oh, yes.
You're real articulate. I'm surprised. Have you had that one?
Mm. You must know these people around here.
I'm not racist, but I wouldn't want my daughter to marry one. Have you had that one?
Yes.
Every one of those is a blow to somebody else's self-image.
Right.
And every one of those should be taken out of our lexicon, but we aren't taking them out. We have now a person who says those countries south of the border are shithole countries.
Mm.
South of the equator, they're shithole countries. Now, he doesn't even know where the equator is because he's been using the Mercator map.
Yes.
Which, if you've ever seen it and looked at it carefully, it shows the equator 2/3 of the way down the map.
Mm.
Yeah, you haven't looked at that carefully lately, have you?
No.
Let me give you another piece of advice. Go to ODT on your computer, capital O, capital D, capital P, and then type in Peters projection map.
Yes, Peters
projection. And take a look at the Peters projection map. It will blow you away.
Right, because Greenland...
Then you realize that the Boston Public Schools have now taken the Mercator map out of the schools, which the Mercator map was... The person who did the Mercator map, Mr. Mercator, was commissioned by the Pope to draw a map that showed the spread of Christianity. And in order to do that, so it showed how much Christianity had spread, they put the equator 2/3 of the way down the map. Now, if you read the material at the bottom of the Mercator maps that used to be there, it isn't there anymore because I checked. I have to do this a lot. At the bottom of the map, it says, South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland.
Mm.
Now, you get a picture in your mind of the Mercator projection map of the world, and you see Greenland hanging down there like a great big red plum in the middle of that map. Yeah. South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland.
Wow.
We have systematically taught racism in the schools in this country for over 300 years. It's time to stop doing that now. And one of the things we're going to do is change the maps so that children have a different view of the world and so that they grow up as adults who don't expect, who realize that Burma, and not Burma, anyway, country in South America, Brazil is as large as the continental United States. The country of Brazil. Did you know that?
No.
No, of course you didn't. And you know why you didn't? Because you're educated.
Oh. They're indoctrinated, more like it. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
said that. I was being nice.
I mean, it's still hard. It's still hard for me to get over the programming that I was subjected to as, all my, adolescence and all that. I still keep saying that America has its problems, but we can fix it. And everyone's like, you're an idealist, you're a fool. There is no fixing. Similar to what you was talking about, the gentleman on TV, like we almost have to tear down the whole society and build it from scratch again. And
no, we don't. No, we don't. We don't have to do that. We have to change education in this country. And we have to insist that teachers become educators, and first they have to be educated.
Yes.
The teachers are teaching. They've done studies that prove that the longer you stay in school, the more bigoted you become.
Wow.
Because you're constantly being reinforced. Those ideas that were put in your head, K through 12, are still being reinforced. It's only when we start re-educating our educators that we'll change this situation. And we could do that in 2 years. I'm serious about this. When John F. Kennedy became president, he said, we'll be on the moon in 3 years, and they did it.
Yes.
Do you think then that we could change textbooks in 3 years and change what children are taught in this country and change the level of racism that is taught in the schools? I know we could. There's not a doubt in my mind, but what we could.
But what will we do with racist teachers and racist counselors and principals?
We re-educate them. We send them to an educational facility, not a school, not a training facility, but an educational facility, a place where people know what they're talking about. And of course, that means they have to have a whole lot of black teachers.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we had a gentleman, actually my co-host for the other morning show, Dimebag, was talking to us about, he'd done some research as far as black boys in education, how they're purposefully steered away from college prep courses and put, and they're like 2 times more likely to be put into remedial courses, irregardless of their intelligence. And that was a practice that's been going on for such a while in this country. And it's like things of that nature is systemic in nature. That means even if we did change the overall policy of the institution, you'll have so many enclaves of people. Before they made this stupid rule, it was like this, and they're gonna still try to promote that ideology. And that's why I say it's so important what you said. These people have to be taken out of society for a bit, re-educated or reprogrammed, however you want to say it, and then placed back into positions of teaching or whatever they were doing.
If you can't teach without forcing children to live down to your expectations of them, you need to be out of the classroom. And they've done studies that show that teachers are more disturbed by children who exceed the teacher's expectation than they are by the children who fail to come up to the teacher's expectation. If you are black, and if you're a black male, and you exceed the teacher's expectations, you're a problem. And we have to find a way to put you in your place.
Wow.
And I know how that works because I've done it with people of all ages in the blue-eyed, brown-eyed exercise. And I can take a CEO of a major corporation and by being in my parent ego state, force him into his child ego state and force him to live down to my expectations of him. Now, if I can do that with a CEO of a major corporation who's at least 55, maybe 58 years old, and get it accomplished in 15 to 20 minutes, think what you can do with a little black child if you do that to them for a lifetime.
Wow.
And if you require that they be in school until they're 16 years old and tolerate that kind of treatment. That's the price they have to pay for being so-called educated in this country. Agree to live down to somebody else's expectations of you from the age of 5 until the age of 16. Now, when Richard Nixon was president, he said, give me a child from the age of 3 to 5, and he'll be mine for a lifetime. And at that point, they started early childhood ed. So that now we have you from the age of 3 to the age of 18. So it takes us that long to thoroughly condition you to your place in this world.
That's
and
monstrous.
If you think I'm misstating or am lying or I'm crazy, well, you're mistaken. Because I see it all the time. You don't, I think we have no idea of what we have lost by believing in the myth of race for the last 400 or 500 years.
Yes.
We have no idea the talent, the intelligence, the creativity, the strength, the courage of people who are other than white. Because there would be no people on most of the land, any of the land masses on this earth, if it hadn't been for those black people having the courage to move
Out of the continent millions of years ago.
What?
I mean, I was just thinking about the conversation I had. We were talking about evolution. Me and my evangelical friend, and he's still one of the guys that believes in the 6,000 years theory. And I do believe in science. We have fossils. We can identify things, carbon date things, and obviously mankind has been on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years.
Humankind. Better start with womankind. You need to remember that.
Humankind?
Womankind.
Oh, woman.
Women were here first. Women were here first. Women evolved first. No man could reproduce.
That is true.
Women could reproduce. Women could reproduce without male cells. You can put two female cells together in a petri dish, break down the cell wall, and come up with another female mammal. They've done it often.
But how would that take place in nature?
The first human beings were undoubtedly women. And they undoubtedly reproduced asexually until, as a result of a mutation of the genes, the first male child was born. So when I'm arguing with a man, I remember that I'm talking to a mutant and I don't get upset.
Stop, Jane. Oh, but Jane, explain that. How could that process happen in nature?
Well, it happens in nature. There are animals who reproduce asexually. You need to look that up.
Yeah, but I mean, those are like more of our bacteria and single-celled organisms. I mean, I want to believe.
Don't you think we started in that way? Come on now.
Well, yeah. I mean, billions of years ago. You're
talking billions of years ago. It took a while. And think how long it had taken for us to get smart.
Hold on. I think I got a question for you. Get them. Jane gets them right on the point. Women are first, and men needs to deal with that because you came from your mother's. Yeah, fact check. That was from John Crowley. Yeah, John, I'm not arguing, obviously women, that is a huge asset that they actually carried the baby. They actually produced a child. And, apparently even in the uterus, we're all, I believe, female until the change happens, and then we become whatever sex.
That's right. Until that other hormone steps in, you all begin female. Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa, there's this guy in the chat room. He goes, the women have all the chromosomes to reproduce without male. Oh, come on, guys. Don't make me sound like some alt-right guy. We will not be replaced. We will not be replaced.
Yeah, but you have to realize that the alt-right guys are all wrong.
Yes.
You have to realize that many of them aren't dealing with a full deck. I'm sorry, but you cannot make the statements that they make and do the things that they do and then say, and this is a Christian nation. The Pope said several years ago, you have a choice. You can either be a Christian or a racist. The two are mutually exclusive. If you're going to be a racist, you have to give up your Christianity. If you're going to be a Christian, you have to give up your racism. And you know as well as I do that in this country, people will give up their Christianity before they'll give up their racism because they know that racism is stronger than Christianity. And if it isn't, why do we have blatant racism in this country today?
Wow. That's so
important. In this Christian nation.
That is so
in which we are, according to the Bible, all members of the family of man. There's only one family of man, and that's the human family. And we're all members of the human race. There's only one race on the face of the earth, and it's the human race. And it started out with black women.
And then it developed into this beautiful pantheon of beautiful human beings, no matter their persuasion.
So, somebody said to me the other day, I think it was one of those probably the Jada Smith thing, said, I'm. How did she put that? Anyway, she was quite certain that she's biracial. I said, wait a minute. You're biracial? Well, yes. I said, well, which of your parents came from outer space? And she did just what you just did. I said, hey, there's only one race on the face of the earth. If you're biracial, that means that one of your parents came from another planet. Now, which one was it? Do you know? She said, well, they didn't. I said, well, then give up the idea that you're biracial.
Thank you.
And give up the idea of multiracial. There's only one race. You may be, if you have parents of different colors, groups, you may be a mosaic, which is something new and different, made of many different elements, but you're not biracial.
You're human.
You're a member of the one race, the human race. And somebody said to me the other day, I have to fill in this form. They were going to have me do this thing. You have to fill in the form. I said, well, read it to me. You'll fill it in over the air. You can check that out. She said, race. I said, human. She said, they won't accept that. I said, don't call me again.
You standing your ground.
Well, let's go on with it. Sex, I said, yeah, and it's spelled Y-E-A-H with an exclamation mark. She said, well, they won't accept that. I said, I just told you, I'm not going to answer any more of your questions. They don't make any sense to me.
That poor girl. She probably didn't know what to say, what to think.
Well, she probably didn't, but she knew how to hang up when I did. If you're going to be ignorant, that's okay, but don't ask me to help you along in your ignorance. I'm an educator. I lead people out of ignorance. If they put down race on a piece of paper, on an application, automatically everybody should put human. Then pretty soon they'll start saying skin color. And that'll be interesting because most of these men who aren't of different colors will have to put pink. You hold a piece of paper up to a white man's face and say, you think you're white, huh? and watch him turn red. He will turn red right now. Either embarrassment or anger or offense. He's extremely offended by having you point out that difference. On the other hand, I have seen people who are black. I don't see any people who are white. I see lots of big pink men. And make no mistake about this. I'm not prejudiced toward big pink men. Some of my best friends are big pink men. But they're different from the rest of them.
You just didn't say that. I got pink big men friends. So,
if all big pink men acted like my big pink men friends do, we wouldn't have the problems we have with these people.
Jane,
what?
You know, how can we get it through people's heads that whether people accept racism as a reality or not, we all participate in it by hook or crook. You know, that's the point.
We do. Yeah, we do, because we get reinforced for participating in it. And we get punished if we don't participate in the right way. And when somebody says, and I think it's you're a black man, when somebody says to you, when I see you, I don't see you black, you're supposed to say thank you. Thank you for not recognizing my unfortunate discoloration. That's what you're supposed to say. You aren't supposed to say, what's your problem? You've been blind long, fool?
That's what you should say.
And when some woman says to me, I'm colorblind, I don't see color, I say, I would have known that without you telling me, because if you weren't colorblind, you wouldn't wear that skirt with that blouse. And you sure wouldn't have your hair that color. And then they don't speak to me again for a very long time.
It's that wit. You have that sense of wit about you.
No, it's not wit. It's I won't accept the shit. If you'll pardon my saying it.
Oh, that's fine.
I won't tolerate what is referred to as, hallelujah, for implicit bias. These implicit biases are the problem. No, they aren't, because you as a black man know it when it's being done to you.
Yes.
It's very explicit when your little girl, if you have one, is invited to the birthday party of a little white girl who takes all the little white kids to her birthday party and doesn't invite the little black girl. You recognize that immediately. And you don't have to have somebody beat you over the head with the fact that this mother doesn't want her child to identify with or to play with that child of that color. See, we can dress this up, as we've been doing for 400 years, with fancy words like implicit biases and like white privilege.
Right.
Instead of talking about white ignorance, we'll talk about white privilege. And when you say to a white person that he or she has privilege, invariably, and I've seen this happen, the white person will say, well, I didn't ask for this privilege, so it's not my fault. But if you say white ignorance, they'll say, I'm not ignorant. You'll say, prove it. Just prove it to me. Go get your DNA tested. And then come back and tell me what percentage of you came from a country in Africa. When I go on a college campus, I say, now, look, people, I do the thing. You're all descendants of the same black females who evolved in sub-Saharan Africa between 300,000 and 500,000 years ago. That means you're all 30th to 50th cousins. Now, to the person on your right or left or behind or in front of you, stick out your hand and say, hello, cousin. I did that with 1,500 students and parents and teachers and community people in Houston, Texas last week. And they turned and were shaking hands with one another and laughing and talking and chuckling about what was going on. And Angela Davis looked at me like I had lost my mind. Those folks were, for the first time in their lives, having to see one another as relatives.
Yes.
You're my cousin, whether you like it or not. You're a 30th to 50th cousin of mine.
And that's
because I'm a faded black woman. That's all a white woman is a faded black woman.
Wow. See, when you say things like that to people who are, like well-traveled or intellectual in any way, that just blows away their whole paradigm.
Are well-traveled. Hey, it's the people who are well-traveled who are the problem.
In what way?
Because when we white folks go and travel, we expect those lands to whom we travel to treat us like white folks. And we expect to be allowed to act white when we go to those places. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen video after video of that. The old boy over there in Uganda at the hotel, he's supposed to be a Christian missionary, calling the black man there, nigger this, nigger that, and trying to fight. And even the cops, later on in the video, even the cops restrained him. Now they didn't beat him down like American cops would if that was a black guy insulting a white, clerk or something. But yeah, that attitude definitely goes wherever certain people go, for sure.
Well, okay, no matter how well traveled you are, you take your bigotry with you. And did you ever read the book The Ugly American? Many years ago, there was a book called The Ugly American, and it described us as we looked at other people. It was an absolutely terrifying book.
Who was the author of that book?
I can't remember. Sorry about that. I can't remember.
I'll Google it. The Ugly American.
The Ugly American. Look it up.
That's so would you say bigotry begins first at home?
Well, of course it does. Of course it begins at home. It begins at birth. When the doctor comes in and says to your husband after you've given birth to a boy, congratulations, you got a boy on the second time. I didn't get a good one until I'd had 4. Yeah.
I hear some misogynistic undertones in that statement.
Those are all implicit biases, don't you know?
Oh,
and when my husband told me what he had said, the next time the doctor came in to see me, I said, I hope you never, ever again say to a father, it only took you 2 to get a good one. It took me 4. And refers to gender. I was absolutely furious because but when he said that to Daryl said, I thought my first one was a good one.
Yes.
He was happy to have a little girl. And he was happy to have a little boy, and then another little girl, and then a little boy, and then in 5 years, we had 4 children because he was so happy. And then we got sad after we realized we were going to have to feed him.
Yes, 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 yes.
And the good ones didn't eat any more than the bad ones did, you see.
Yes. That is so funny. I have 4 kids as well.
Them out of shelter and clothes and love and affection and compassion and education. But you see, there was a time in this country, and in many countries now, women aren't allowed to learn, aren't allowed to go to school. They don't need that.
And what do they need, Jane?
In this country for years. And if the evangelicals have their way, that's the way it will be in this country.
Yes.
We'll put women back in the home. We'll keep them broke, barefoot, and pregnant.
The Handmaid Tales.
And especially the white ones. Because we've got to think of white babies being born in this country today, because if we don't, according to Ben Wattenberg, who wrote the book The Birth Dearth, if we don't do that, white people will become a numerical minority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, he wrote that in the first book that he published called The Birth Dearth. Then he got so many unpleasant responses to that he rewrote the book and published one that's full of charts and graphs and tables and facts, and doesn't say what he said in the first paragraph of the first book that he published under that name.
Wow.
I wish I could get and I have that book somewhere. I loaned it to somebody, and they went up and they took off with it. I wish I had that book. I can't get my hands on the first book he wrote now, The Birth Dearth. Because in the first paragraph, that's exactly what he says. A major problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country. If we don't do something about this and do it soon, white people will become a numerical minority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. And then he proceeded to tell us what we had to do to solve this problem. He said the number one thing we could do is pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for many years. Then he says, unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that. He says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants allowed in this country. He says, unfortunately, the majority of those wanting to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. He says the third thing we could do is remember that 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year in this country are white. If we could keep if we could keep those fetuses alive, that would solve our birth dearth.
Wow.
Now, I read that book, and I became absolutely infuriated. And I talked about it at colleges and universities every time I went out, and I still do. But now he died a couple of years ago. I didn't cry. He has published a new Birth Dearth, and it's full of charts and tables and graphs that explain what we have to do, but he doesn't come right out and say what he did in that first one. I wish I could find that first one, because and he's a member of the American Enterprise Institute and gave advice to presidents of the United States of America.
Wow. Now that's terrifying.
And I suspect that you never read that book, and you never heard of anybody saying anything so racist, sexist, ageist, ugly.
But he's saying it in a point as if he's trying to say, like, he loves the white race and you need to follow me, because if not, we're going to head to genetic annihilation. And then all that does is these cringy, fringy type. That just empowers them to go out and either kill a black person, beat down a black person, or maybe set a black guy up to go to jail. It makes them do, because now they feel their backs against the wall. You know, this is for the survival of our people type nonsense.
Well, what is happening in this country today, because of a boy grown tall in the White House, blacks can relax a bit, because now he's on to Hispanics and Latinos. He's angry about the browns, and he's angry about the Muslims. So now the blacks can relax until he decides to turn on the blacks.
Right.
I don't think that people realize how dangerous this situation is.
It is. I mean, you got all these. There's a guy out there. His name is Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. Okay, this guy. If you ever saw this, it's a cartoon series called The Boondocks. There's a character in there called Uncle Ruckus. Uncle Ruckus would make the image of a typical Uncle Tom or sellout look like a militant. Uncle Ruckus is that bad. And that's how this
Okay.
Jesse Lee Peterson character is, you know. I mean, basically, Trump can do no wrong. White folks can do no wrong. All the problems black folks have is due to them. You know, all the crime in the country is all black. It's like everything possibly negative and racist you would expect a hardcore hater to say, this black man saying basically on their behalf. So it's like, you know, how do you get it through people like them that it's really in your best interest to evaluate the situation, look at the historical narrative, and, you know, once you get finished being used as a tool, they're going to put you away.
Oh yeah. And they're going to put you away. What you have to get people to do is look into the future more than 15 minutes.
Mm.
When Native Americans make a decision, they don't make a decision until they look far, like 5 or 10 or 15 generations into the future. White folks look 5 minutes into the future and then make a decision. And if you read the book Fear, you'll see perfect examples of a person who's doing exactly that. Look 5 minutes into the future and then make your decision. Don't look at the facts. Don't look at the tables and graphs. Don't look at history. For God's sake, don't look at history. just you know, you've decided what you're going to do, and don't think about it. Just do it. Just do it. If people would just realize that that's what's being done on a daily basis in this country and with this government. And that was probably the major failing of Barack Obama. He thought about what would happen if this thing happened, and if this was done, then this and this and this and this might be the result. He looked very carefully into the future, and he was opposed to war.
Right.
Well, you can't have a president who's opposed to war, after all. I remember when my government teacher, and when I was in high school, senior in high school, and my government teacher was World War II veterans. All the men teachers that I had in high school were World War II veterans. And they knew what life was about. They knew what death was about. And they knew what courage was about. And I remember that government teacher, who was also the principal, standing up at the front of the room with the bottom drawer of the desk open with his foot up on it so he could arrange his spine just right. And he had a paper clip in his hand, and he was bending it, and he looked at this group of pimply-faced adolescents, and he said, after serving in the Second World War and going to school on the GI Bill, he said to that group of young people, I will never fight in another old man's war, and neither will my sons.
Whoa.
And I thought, that's not very patriotic. And then I grew up.
Whoa.
And I realized that he was absolutely right. Old men send young men, somebody else's young men, to fight the wars so that we can have the natural resources of the countries that we're making war on.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, now don't tell me that we have never done this. We have done this. I remember, I read the book, and I can't remember the name of it, but I just saw it again yesterday. They told President Roosevelt about what Hitler was doing, and he said, well, he's killing the Jews. He said, leave that man alone. He's dealing with a problem the rest of us don't want to deal with.
Oh, my God. I have a real quick question from the chat room. This is from Rico86. Can you ask Jane about the John Birch Society?
If you could ask me about it, but I don't know enough about it to answer.
There it is. I really don't know enough about John Birch. I know that ultra-conservative, and we're suffering from ultra-conservative right now. Mm-hmm.
Scary. I'll go look up John Birch. Now that you've done it, I hope you're happy, listener. Now I have to go and look that up. I'll have to buy another book. Shame on you.
Well, I mean, I've talked about the John Birch Society on this show a little bit. You know, the basic history is John Birch was a gentleman that died in China, opposing the communists. And, you know, the society took his namesake, said he was like the first casualty in the war against communism. And this is prior to, Korea and Vietnam. And then just kind of mushrooms from there. And but it does kind of segue with what you're talking about as far as the evangelical agenda, because a lot of John Birch Society members, especially at the top, claim to be evangelicals. So, they're kind of on that You know, unfortunately, it's so sad, but they're on the whole death and destruction prophecy being fulfilled, you know, to validate their belief in God. You know, people must die, unfortunately. And the thing is that if we peel back the onion once again, it just goes back to what Jane has been talking about, fear and control. They put us in a state of fear.
Control with fear. And when you read the book, you'll realize that we're being controlled with fear again.
Yes.
And some of us are old enough, not very many, but some of us are old enough to remember what controlling people with fear resulted in, what the results were. And the results were the thing that you talked about fearing, you ended up with.
So
you ended up living with what we had been described as being afraid, what we were supposed to be afraid of.
Let's break that down.
It took a whole lot of young men, like young men. At that time, only men were allowed to go into combat. But it took a whole lot of young men's lives. And a lot of black men's lives that we didn't talk about. I remember when Gail Thomas, a friend of mine that I worked for when I worked at this other corporation, I did the exercise. Her husband was learning to be a navigator. She was black and so was he during the Second World War. And they were in California, and he had to fly at night because those white folks didn't want black people flying over them in airplanes.
What?
And he thought, yes. Gail Thomas told me that. And then she showed me an article in the paper that, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Black trainees who were being trained to fly had to practice at night because white people were more comfortable if there weren't black people flying over them. That's how ridiculous this whole thing is, has been, and continues to be.
And no one speaks up for it. No one brings us to the forefront. You know, I mean, if you bring up some of these issues, oh, you're just whining. Stop whining. It's not that bad.
And we deny it, and we say we're in a post-racial society. You can't claim that you're in a post-racial society when there's a person like this president in the White House making decisions.
No.
Based on his bigotry. You cannot claim that we're in a post-racial society when he says at a meeting, in a press conference, well, I've got a black person. See, there's my black person over there. And he points to a black person in the room.
And that guy was probably cheesing and happy. Oh, look, he sees me.
Yeah, here I am, y'all.
That's so sad.
It just makes your skin crawl in your blood curdle.
Oh, I mean, I get it. You know, a lot of black folks use, I guess, pandering to these racists as a way to get money.
You have to do. Hey, wait a minute. You better not call it pandering. You better realize that you do, and you know you do what you have to do to get ahead.
Yes.
You do what you have to do to stay alive. I will never forget what happened in a university I taught to several months ago. They introduced me, and some woman, and this was all department heads and administrators in this meeting. He called me and asked me to talk to this group, and okay, I'm dumb, I'll go for that. And they introduced me, and almost immediately, a woman in the audience said, I think we should stop talking about differences and talk about similarities. Similarities are more important than differences. And I said, let's deal with that right now. So I had a tall white man stand on my left, and a tall black woman, gorgeous, beautiful black woman stand on my right. She's probably 55 years old and just gorgeous. And I said to the audience, and these are educators, I said, do people see any differences here? And immediately they said, height. I thought, damn you. I just caught you. You just exposed yourselves. Because I know what they saw first, and they know what they saw first, but they said height. So I said to this tall man, is your height important to you? Well, no, not really. I said, wait a minute. Did you earn your height? No. Is it a prize? No. Did you have to buy it? No. Is it a physical characteristic over which you have no control? Well, yeah. Does your height give you power? And he paused in the audience and said, yes. He said, well, yes, I guess it does. I said, in other words, you have power on the basis of a physical characteristic over which you have absolutely no control. He said, well, if you put it that way. I said, I put it that way. So I turned to this black woman. I said, is your height important to you? Well, yes. Did you earn it? No. Has it always been a good thing? Well, not really. I'm too tired. I said, okay. But I said, so does your height give you power? She said, no. I said, and she said, well, there are some other issues. I said, we're going to deal with them. So I said in the group, now, you see any other differences here other than the height? So they said sex.
Right.
And I said to this guy, is sex important to you? And then he turned into a man of color immediately and turned bright red. And I said, let me put that another way. Is the fact that you're male important to you? Yes. Did you earn it? No. Is it a prize? No. Is it a physical characteristic over which you have no control? Yes. So you have power because of gender. Yes. A physical characteristic over which you have no control. Yes. So that's two of them, isn't it? Well, yeah, okay. So I turned to the black woman, same thing, and she said, there are other issues. I said, we'll get there. So then they said age, and we dealt with that one. So then I said, do you see any other differences here? Finally, somebody said color. And I said, thank you very much. That's the first thing. That's the first time that response has come to me from an audience in this country for the last 50 years. They always say race. We're making progress here. They said color. I said, now, do you mean hair color or skin color? She said, skin color. I said, this tall white man, is the color of your skin important to you? He said, I never have to think about it.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
I thought, oh, fool, don't go any farther. And I said, did you never have to think about the color of your skin? No. I said, did you earn it? No. Is it a physical characteristic over which you have no control? Yeah. Does your skin color give you power? Well, the audience said, yes. Well, yes, I guess it does. I said, yes, I guess it does. I said, so you have a lot of power. Is there anything that this can you say what you want to, do what you want to, be what you want to, as long as you stay within the confines of the law? Well, yes. I said, you have nothing to be afraid of. He said, I'm not afraid of anything. So I turned to this black woman and I said, sometimes does it take courage for you to get out of bed in the morning? And she paused for a long moment and then she said, I'm going to say something I've never said out loud before because I'm ashamed of it. And I said, and that would be, she said, I have two children. They're both daughters. Both times when I was pregnant, I prayed that I wouldn't have a son. And I said, and that's because, she said, because I didn't want to think about what he'd go through, and I didn't want to think about what I'd have to go through when I lost him.
Oh, shit.
And I looked up at this beautiful black face, and there was one tear slowly coursing down the left side of that woman's face.
Oh, my God.
With the sound in that room, except this man standing on my left, making noises like, and I turned to that audience and I said, what the hell have we done?
Damn.
What are you educators doing? For a white woman to have a son is what you want because it will carry on the family name. This woman doesn't even have that freedom. What are you going to do about it? Somebody brought her up a Kleenex. She blew her nose and wiped her eyes. Nobody offered the guy a Kleenex. They shouldn't have. I was just. But that's the kind of answer I get every time I do that differences thing. Every time. It never changes. Because the situation never changes. If you're a white male, you never have to think about the color of your skin. If you're a black woman, you have to think about it. Even in your dreams, you have nightmares about the color of your skin. I told that story at another college shortly after that. And there were two black fraternity groups on the left side of the stage, down in the audience. And they were crying. These young men were crying. After I was done, they came up and said to my daughter who was with me, I'm going to go home and call my mother. Several of them said, we're going to go home and call our mother right now. And another one came to me and said, I'm going to call my mother every week from now on because I didn't realize why she was so concerned about what I would be doing when I left the house. I didn't know what she had to think about.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I got another question from the chat room from Rico86. Can you ask Jane about her views on what is going on in South Africa?
You can ask me that, and I could make up a whole bunch of answers, and I'm not sure what's going on in South Africa. I know what's going on in Kenya, however. And in Kenya is being colonized by the Chinese. You need to be concerned about that.
Oh, yeah, with the trains? The Kenya or the Chinese have put up so much money for for some sort of new railroad. Apparently, like the old British railroad was collapsing, so they put up money for that.
They are turning that into a Chinese colony, and that's exactly what they're doing in Iowa.
Yes,
Iowa, beautiful land, is now the Chinese are hiring farmers to raise hogs in confinement.
Mm.
There are over 3 million hogs being raised in confinement in the state of, way over 3 million now. And our water, our air, and our land are all contaminated with hog feces and the antibiotics that they feed those animals to keep them healthy.
Mm.
That's what's going on here. I don't know for sure what's going on in South Africa. I really don't. I should know, but I don't. And I'm sorry that I don't. Now I'll have to look that up too.
Rico's
the Don Bush Society. See, don't be calling me anymore because I have to answer all these questions. And I have 4 books to read this week. I have 4 books to read this week and 2 speeches to give. So I can't be doing all this research. You tell me what's going on in South Africa.
Well, I've actually contacted members of the EFF, and basically what it is, we all know that after Mandela got out of prison in the 90s, he became president. At that time, the Congress or Parliament had made proposals and propositions to finally get rid of the last vestiges of apartheid. And actually, at that time, I believe 92% of the prime farmland was still in the hands of basically the Boers and Afrikaners, the colonizers.
Yes, and now they're making some of the Afrikaners give up their land to black people, right?
Right. And people are upset.
I'm afraid I approve of that.
Oh, radical Jane.
And see, I think we ought to give some of this land back to the Indians.
Oh, now you're going too far, Jane. Now you're going too far.
Let's talk about them, but not about us. Now, let's not be silly here.
Well, that's the American or the United States way. We're still the good guys, remember? We're still the good guys.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. We in America are the good guys. In the United States, we make some mistakes.
Yes. I mean, what blew me away I think the most powerful statement that you made tonight was the acknowledgement of how much progress we have lost as a species due to racism across the board.
Yeah, when you consider the courage and the intelligence and the creativity of those black people who moved away from the equator and populated every landmass on the earth over the thousands of years, when you consider that the intelligence that they had, how can you tell black people that they're inferior to white people? See, what tickles me to death is I pull up to a stop sign, the red light's on, and right beside me, there's a guy in either a motorcycle, ready to go, and the stop sign stopping him. Or there's a big semi with a driver, and I look up and I smile at him, and I know they're thinking, look at that little old lady, she thinks I'm cute. But what I'm thinking is, if you knew that your behavior right now, your activity is being dictated by the invention of a light for which GE paid $40,000 for the patent in order to be able to use that light that was made by a black man, you'd run the light. Think about that. And if that guy on that motorcycle knew that without a black man, he wouldn't have shoes that fit his right and left foot. He would have shoes that were the same shape, like moccasins.
Wow.
Because a black man invented the last, so that you could have shoes that fit your left and your right foot. Now, those are things that we teach in school because it makes people other than white folks feel good, so we just don't teach it. And if you've never taught it, then you haven't learned it. So then you can't teach it because you don't know it.
And I didn't even know until you just now said that. I mean, I know about other things, about the cars and things of that nature, but I did not know about the shoes and the stoplight.
Yes, of course, everybody knows who our first black president was.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln. He was a Melungeon. He was part black, he was part white, and he was part Cherokee Indian.
Wow.
I told that to somebody here the other day, and they went, these two black males over here, are you kidding me? I said, no, I'm not kidding you. I'm absolutely serious. He lived in Kentucky, in a place where there were a lot of Melungeons, and now most of them have moved to Texas.
Really?
Yeah, look up Melungeon, and you'll see that it says Abraham Lincoln was a Melungeon. Part black, part white. And then you look at what he looked like. You look at the length of his arms and his legs and his fingers. And you look at his hair, and you look at his face, and you say to yourself, oh my goodness, he just does not look at all like Dinosaur's T-Rump.
Wow. Dinosaur T-Rump.
Well, he thinks like a dinosaur. He has a face that looks like a rump. So obviously, Dinosaur's T-Rump works. Now I'm going to get real nasty remarks about that. So it's time for me to go now, people. I thought you were going to call me and we were going to do this at some other time, but you did it today, and now I've got to get busy, okay?
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much.
Well, you won't be thanking me when you lose all your listeners.
There you go, folks. My cousin, Jane Elliott.
Okay, thank you for calling, cousin. We'll talk again sometime.
All righty. Bye.
Okay, bye now.
Wow. 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 I mean, I was not expecting to do an hour show with her once again. You know, I'm glad, Plato, that you was able, you know, everybody in the chat, you know, thank you for all your questions. Thank you for being here. You know, hopefully you all can join me later on tonight. I'm still going to do the Night Owl edition, a special report later on, probably 2 a.m. Missouri time, Central time. That's when I typically start that program. But what she was talking about was so on point. You know, thank you, DT. I'm going to actually, you know, research. I took some notes, as I always do. I'm always taking notes and stuff. So I'm going to look up a lot of this stuff, actually, you know. And, you know, one thing, once again, about this show, you know, whether you disagree with me or you agree with me, more so if you disagree, please just point out where we're wrong. I mean, you can make fun of me all day. You know, oh, he's a hick. He's this, he's that. You know, he's brainwashed, whatever. But just please have the courage after you down me or whatever. Please have the courage to say, well, on this point, you're wrong. On this point, you're wrong. On that point, you're wrong. And I'll respond. I do. I respond to like basically 90% of the comments. I try to. You know, if nothing else, I'll just try to make a broadcast and address it right then and there. But I'm going to go in here and get me some supper now. Probably take me a nap. Join me again at 2:30. And we're just going to have a fun old time with this. Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about, you know, I want to get into the UFO thing. I'll break down South Africa a lot more. You know, and then we're going to talk about this Russian-Chinese marriage, basically, versus the United States. So, you know, once again, you know, thank you all for joining me on the show. I want to give another thanks out to Jane Elliott, you know, for once again having the guts to come on this show, because, you know, we're very unorthodox here. You know, I mean, there's not too many people who are willing to do an interview. Literally, I talked to her around, it was like, what, 5 or so this afternoon. And I was just talking to her about trying to touch base with her and Dr. Nichols being on at the same time and doing like a little combo like we did with Mark from Anaheim and Joe Judge Brown. And she was totally game for it, you know, which I knew she would. And then we just had to get the detail and the scheduling for that. And that won't be impromptu like this. I will actually give you guys a couple of weeks heads up, you know, if nothing else, you know, make sure you get some popcorn, snack cakes. We're going to go in. Man, I love you too, bros. Man, I love you all, man. Seriously, because look, guys, we're in this shit together. You know, just like I told her, you can sell out if you want. You can buffoon and all that stupid shit if you want. But after you're done, after the damage is done with your fucking behavior and your fucking rhetoric, they're going to fucking do with you as they do with any tool. They're going to throw that motherfucker away, toss into the fire, melt that shit back down so it can't be used against them. You know, and as a human being, as a father, as a husband, you know, will you have Mark on Anaheim back on for Friday, bro? No, for a couple reasons. I did call Mark today and we did talk, but he kept on saying, "Where's my t-shirt?" You know, I tried to send out a t-shirt to him, but the postmaster wouldn't send it out because there was like an indiscrepancy with the address. But I really want the hype to build up for the Carl Nelson show. You know, I was drunk when I called Mark. I was, dude. I was pissed off and I was fucking hammered. I was drunk. I was mad. Those of you guys who saw the show, you know, we was having a great conversation with Dr. Nichols. And I asked Dr. Nichols this one question, and then it all just went to shit. I go, Dr. Nichols, could you please explain the importance of the black male masculinity? And then I waited for him to respond. Dimebag shit went down over here. My phone fucking went funny and went down. And then I got mad. I got really fucking like, yeah, I was pissed, dude. You know, I felt it, and this might be unreasonable, but I felt like the NSA like pointed me out. It's like, let's fuck with this guy. And they just like kind of shut me down. So I kind of lost it. All right. And then I forgot who was in the chat room. There were several people. And I was sitting here, I drank a beer, you know, and I fucking put the beer down. I go, you know what? Fuck it. Who wants me to call Mark from Anaheim? You know, and I put it up to a vote. You know, I didn't vote myself because I didn't want to be biased. You know, Dimebag was like, and I was like, and I saw that guy in the chat room, you know, he goes, hell yeah, do it, bro. And I did it, you know, and it turned out fucking awesome. You know, it really did. But I want to have Mark on after the show with Carl Nelson. All right. Unless, you know, if I'm talking in between, you know, which we often do talk, and he wants to come on or whatever, because normally when I talk to him, I never like, hey, Mark, you should come on the show, blah, blah, blah. We just talk, you know what I mean? And it's like, I understand the media of this thing. And, you know, Carl Nelson deserves to build up. Mark deserves to build up. You know what I mean? These brothers do this. They do this hard thing, man. And when you get up here and you start talking real truth, that shit's hard. It's not easy, you know. And I respect Mark and I respect Carl, even though I you know, honestly, guys, if I had a wish list right now, I wish I can actually have a phone conversation with Carl Nelson. You know what I mean? I really wish I could just talk to him, like even for 20 or so minutes, you know, just ask him some questions I know he couldn't answer online, of course, or on his show, but just to get him, you know, overall sense of this man, you know, like I don't consider myself a journalist. I don't consider myself, you know, barely a talk show host at the bare minimum, but I really do consider Carl Nelson a true professional journalist, just on it. So much as shit is going on, it's hard to wait until November. It's hard when all the MSM are in the bed with, oh, yes. Well, yeah. I mean, you know what? Okay, this is what I can do. This is what I can do. All right. Put together some true questions you really want answers to, okay? You know, just send them directly to me. You know, post them on the video, all right? When I call Mark, you know, next few days as we're talking, because honestly, this is how our conversations go with me and Mark. Hey, Mark, I secure your line. And I'm like, hey, man, this is Patrick from Missouri. Then we start talking. I bust out a piece of paper and I bust out a pencil. And I'm sitting here like a college kid fucking just taking notes after night. He's just breaking down all this stuff, all this good information. And I'm writing it down. And then later on, I research it, all right? You said the last time and never got to the question. She said, well, okay, murders. That is true. All right. That is true, brothers. And I'm not going to lie, I dropped the ball. I did. I'm only human. Seriously, I am. But moving forward now, I will ask Mark these questions on the phone with him, and then the answer he gives me, I will take. And when I make my show, I will tell you, you know, it won't become the information will be Mark's information, but I will be, you know, because Mark's a busy dude, man. Mark's a busy man, dude. I mean, he broke it down to me like the third time I actually talked to him on the phone, you know, kind of like in the beginning. And he's like, dude, you know, when you become popular, you're going to start getting all this information shot at you, literally just streamlined. I mean, I can imagine his chat board or like his Facebook message. I bet you that son of a bitch is like 40, 20, 60 messages, if not more deep, you know, because the dude has a huge fan base, man. I mean, I'm only seeing a fraction of it over here on my channels, okay? But me and Dimebag was joking around one day, and we said, literally, we can make a video headline, dog shit, and Mark from Anaheim. And just because you put Mark from Anaheim in that motherfucker, peep out how some bitch will have like 1,000 views in the first day. Easy, like that. You know, right now on my channel, the biggest video I have, 15,000 views. That's Mark from Anaheim. All right? I have 3 questions. First, is Abraham Lincoln half black? Well, he was actually... like James just said, he was Cherokee Indian, white, and black. So he was like not half, but a third. But I asked Mark that, and why has on the least favorite coin? Oh yeah, why they have him on the least favorite coin in the U.S. and that would be the penny. That basically should have been the foundation of our coinage. But I know what you're saying there, brother. And second, what is his views on black gentlemen running for government in Florida? And will he win? Oh, God, yes. Yeah, yes. I forgot that gentleman's name. Hold on. I'm writing this down, Rico. Yeah, I mean, I can remember the Lincoln question, but the black man running from Florida. I'm writing that down because I want to make sure. Because I'm actually want to get the answer to that question as well. And do you think he will win? Got it. All right. Oh, we are not. Oh, who's this? I wonder. Hold on. Hello. Welcome to the show. Are you there? Hola.
What's up?
What's up? I'm on a live broadcast.
I'm watching you.
Oh, okay, good. And
it's Andrew Gillum is the guy that's running in Florida. He's the mayor of Tallahassee. He's running for governor in the state of Florida. But basically, he's a corporate whore too.
So even if he does win, it's really not going to be any real change.
No. He's a Hillary supporter. He supported Hillary in 2016.
Holy shit! I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, for all you guys that don't know, I have Dimebag. Why am I getting a restriction on the message here? I got Dimebag on the line. Hold on. Someone posted, Timothy, I'm going to make sure they can see your message. This is bullshit. No. I don't understand why they're fucking blocking this man's message. It's fucking bullshit. Timothy, they got some sort of deal that says message retracted. Dude, type out your message again so we can see what you got to say. This is bullshit. I hate censorship. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and then murders want to ask, was Huey Newton CIA and or a boule? And did he get off with shooting a cop in the 1960s? Dude, I got to get enough piece of paper. I got to write this shit off. Well, I can transcribe it later when I download this video as well. But no, man, I didn't even think, you know, I had talked to Jane for a second. I just wanted to do live with her, like just for a couple of moments. It turned out to be like an hour and 15 minutes. She was on point. She's even more radical than you. You know, I asked her a question, when will all this stuff really change for black folks? Which, you know, a lot of young folks always ask me, when's it going to change? And she didn't even hesitate. She said, it's not going to change till black folks start going on the offensive. Start standing up for yourself. Start standing up for your women. Start standing up for the men. Start standing up for the boys. Don't let these motherfuckers get off.
I told you this. The only way things are gonna change is black people gonna have to stand up and fight back.
Right.
Malcolm X said this stuff. Like you're not gonna get anywhere if you're on your knees. They're just gonna kick you in the face. You know, if I go out and I pop Lil Pookie with my pistol, then I'm gonna have to deal with his uncles and his cousins. But when a white police officer go out and pop some black man, all we get is marching in the street. That's why they continue to do this stuff, because they know we're not gonna fight back.
Yeah.
When the white guys walk down the street with their AR-15s, the police don't bother them because they know they'll shoot. They see us with our AR-15, which is perfectly legal in Missouri to walk down the street with the AR-15.
Don't try it though.
They're gonna jump out. They're gonna jump out on us and pop us because they know we ain't gonna shoot back, and that's why they do this stuff. Until we rise up and fight back, they're gonna continue to do this stuff. You know, you see white people. You know, you see how they call the police on us for dumb stuff. Don't call the cops on them for dumb stuff. Give a dose of their own medicine.
And many of us won't do that, though, brother.
You don't fight back, they're going to kill us all. Flat out. They're going to kill us all.
And that's the reality. Seriously, I can't argue with that fact. That's the reality. You know, just like I said on the show tonight, you can sit here and buffoon and clown all you want. You know, say things that other white people can't. But as the moment they get finished with you, though, dude, is if you're talking that bullshit. Now, if you're saying shit that's unpopular but it's truthful, you know I say some very unpopular things. You know what I'm saying? But I don't say them in any way, shape, or form to degrade who I am and what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? You know, when I make statements like I was raised, not raised, but like went to school, been indoctrinated to believe that America's great. I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. That's what really happened to me. You know, I'm not saying that this is cool. This is what we should strive to be. I'm just saying that's just the point of view that I kind of come from. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't lying. I have learned more in the past 18 months than I had the 46 years being down here on this fucking planet. All right. Well, hold on. Ask Mark from Anaheim, who exactly are members of the John Burke Society from the NBC, CNN, Fox News, like profile people. Okay. I mean, I can actually do that. I'll bring that up to him when I talk to him, 86, Rico. But I will actually, because I have a John Burke Society series, and I'm getting ready to do part 2. Hopefully, I'll probably start it either Wednesday or Thursday. And I'm going to go and break down, you know, the founders, you know, the Mercer family, the DeVos, all those guys. Show pictures of them so we understand who the fuck we're dealing with. You know, I don't want to get banned like Alex Jones, though. You know. Now, Dimebag, did you do the good audio of the Mark from Anaheim video on your channel tonight?
Yep, I actually just finished the live stream. I re-live streamed it.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
So that's probably where a lot of people are copied from your channel over to here. His name is.
Well, Friday, for some reason, like this the internet connection kept going in and out. I don't know why it was doing it, but it just did. I never had that problem before.
Well, unfortunately, you know, they got you tied. Listen, you know, I already know when I had Wayne Madison, that was me raising the flag. All right. You know, the NSA wasn't concerned with me. You know, I'm sure they're concerned with me now because of certain people I talked to on the phone and certain people who I've actually had on the show as well. All right. Once again, you know, I am not out here trying to incite no violence. I'm not out here trying to blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to just get information to people so that they can actually make an intelligent choice. Something that was robbed from me. Something that was robbed from many of us because we did not have all the facts to adequately and critically think out the answer. You know, if I'd sit here, if I held you hostage, Dimebag, ever since you've been born, and I've been telling you, you know, all your life, you know, fuck it, you know, cows are totally awesome. You know, they're great. You know, you wouldn't eat no fucking burgers. You wouldn't fuck around with no steaks because you have been trained that cows are wonderful. They're great, you know? So that's kind of where we have been all put at pertaining to race, you know, unless you were fortunate enough to grow up in a revolutionary home or whatnot, where they, and I mean only fortunate because they would actually give you information and try to educate you or kind of at least give you balance in your education. But for many of us, we didn't have no such people.
This whole system is a scam. You know, the 1% invented the race just to separate. Because remember, a lot of black men were free before this whole race thing even came in fruition.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of black Englishmen free, and they were fucking white women. You know, and when we had Dr. Jane Elliott on, and when she was telling us how she was doing the research and found out that it wasn't no laws pertaining saying white people until what year was that? She said
it was like 16. It was basically 500 years ago. So
right,
it would be.
They put that in, and they have always used that. The 1% have always used that. Whenever you can get a poor white person to go out and die for you, when he don't even own the clothes on his back, so you can keep the right to enslave another human being. You know, that's a very effective weapon. Oh. They've been using it ever since. You know, there's no difference from me, from me and any other white person that's poor. It's no difference. But to that white man, he thinks he's a little bit better because he's white. Like every white person in this country knows that they benefit on the simple fact that they're white. They know this. And I'm not saying all white people agree with it, but they know it.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to take that risk because they don't know what would happen to them. Would they be able to survive? How would they be able to feed their families? Would black people do the same stuff that his ancestors and stuff did to our ancestors? You got to understand, we intermingle with people. Their ancestors owned our ancestors. They did horrible stuff to them, you know, and that stuff gets passed down from generation to generation, regardless if some people might not agree with it. Agree with that or not, but that stuff got passed down.
Well,
like,
yeah.
I posted a video earlier today. I was talking about Kanye West. But if you watch the first 3 minutes, you'll see a bunch of people in whiteface. These are the type of shows that were shown on TV, you know, when colored people wasn't allowed on TV.
Or if they were definitely in the Aunt Jemima role or the clown.
Yeah. Did you see it? It's just a little bitty clip I played before I started going in on Kanye West's wife being a slut. And he was crying about it. But it depicts, it shows the type of shows they put on television. And the type of shows they put on.
Well, I'm going to end this video because it's like an hour and 30 fucking minutes. So
I know I just seen you on, so I figured I'll just call up.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, my whole thing is that if we don't get this information out, you know what I'm saying? Like the people you're talking to, the people I'm talking to, our personal thoughts. If we do not get this shit out, at least get this shit out, dude, I feel we're doing a great disservice to everybody. I really do.
Yeah.
You know, because no one has a show like ours. No one has the commentary. You know, all that shit's all scripted, dude. This here is not scripted. You can literally go in the chat room and you type something, dude. I will respond and we will make this happen. When will you?
It needs to be a little bit better when we do on the other morning show. But I was watching that extremely long live stream you did last night. And I cut the live chat on as the video played. So when I'm watching the video, I can see the comments as they pop up.
Yeah.
At that certain point in the video. And yeah, I thought it was good interaction, you know?
Yeah, it was totally. I mean, you know, it took 3 videos to get to that point because I did one video, it was like 30 minutes. They shut me down. I come back for another 20 minutes, they shut me down. Then I came back for like the 2 hours straight stretch. And but I just want to answer Rico 86. When will you interview Wayne Madison again? A great journalist. I'm going to email Wayne Madison after I eat supper tonight because it's really too late for me to call him because I've been busy doing other shit this today. But I will call him. If I can get him on for the other morning show this Friday, then that will be the guest for this Friday show. And if I can't, then I'll try to do something with him like I did with Jane, just whenever he can, you know, because I truly do want Wayne Madison on, you know, very intelligent man, you know, very opinionated individual as well. So, you know, look, Dimebag will tell you this. This is the truth, man. Everything we're doing over here, it's read my post. Hold on. Read my last post. Oh, okay. Hold on 1 second, Timothy. I will. Everything we do here is on zero budget, dude. There is no overhead. We just do it. All right. Hold on. This is Penny's last, Timothy's last comment. The penny is the only brown coin, and the profile face the opposite directions from the other coins, the silver and, you know, the quarters and the dimes. And that is true. I think that what the fuck? I know I have a fucking penny around here because one of my kids threw it at me earlier. Yes, I had some kids that like to joke around if they think it's funny, throw stuff and run away. But doesn't the penny face like to the?
It faces the opposite way.
Yeah, but doesn't it face to the right? Like Lincoln's facing? I'm not for sure. But yeah.
Holding a penny in front of you, it faces to the right.
It faces to the right. Okay, so then the other one's faces to the
a quarter, nickel, or dime, or 50 cent piece, it faces to the left.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Listen, guys. This is our only spot, man. This show here is designed for men. You know, not that, you know, we don't, you know, women are more than welcome as well, you know. But it just seems like men more get what we're trying to do here. You know, like, you know, it kind of blew me away what Jane was talking about, you know, like women could aid sexually, like recreate life without men, you know, and I'm still not kind of unsure about the mechanics of all that. But, you know, do you think, you know, think about how terrifying that would be if they were like, you know what, fuck it, you know, we're going to have these babies and then, you know, we're going to choose the guy to support it, because we all know that there's 2 folds to it. There's one, the impregnation, and then there's 2, the eating, you know, and raising, you know. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, some guys out there are straight up tending to kids, and a woman, you know, the woman already had kids by other man, and he's over there, you know, let's say it's like, okay, here's the setup. The woman in her 20s, and she hooks up with this new man in her 30s. In her 20s, she had like 2 kids by different men. When she turned 30, she got a hysterectomy, so now she can't have babies. This other dude comes through when she's like 32 or something, and he marries her. Now he's taking care of these 2 dudes' kids. All right, but he was single. He can have kids, but he can't have kids because now he's married to a chick who can't have kids. Don't you see how this is kind of, you know, as long as he's cool with it, I guess it's cool. But to me, that seems kind of sketchish. You know, I mean, not saying that you shouldn't mess with chicks with kids. I'm not saying that at all. But you might want to evaluate the reason why you want to take on all that responsibility, especially if you're single and, you know, you could do whatever. But now you're going to have to instantly be daddy and all this and the third. You know, not saying that these women don't deserve to have a good man or whatever. But, you know, I'm also saying men deserve to have a good woman as well. And sometimes you can find a good woman who had kids by somebody else. Perhaps she was a widow, you know, but don't fall for that shit that he is that the guy is a stupid piece of shit. What the heck? Oh, hey. Hi, baby. All right, I'm coming in there. All right. They sent the baby out for me. Let me know supper's ready. So, yes, this one you see over here in the window, my second youngest. I just want to say thank you all once again for watching the show. Hopefully you share this with your friends and family. I know it's a relatively long video. Thank you, Dimebag, for calling in. And everyone, you need to check out Dimebag TV. Check out the new videos he's posted. Check out the new live stream of Mark from Anaheim. And as always, guys, let's be kinder to each other. Later.
Peace.
Oh, I gotta. There it is.